Her love of fairs and rodeos began as a young girl growing up on a ranch near Red Scaffold, South Dakota. And that love of fairs and all they mean to a community drove her passion to volunteer and be part of making the Central States Fair and Black Hills Stock Show bigger and better. For all she has done and continues to do, tonight we honor Nancee Maynard as the 2018 Silver Spur Hall of Fame winner. Nancee grew up on a ranch located 25 miles southeast of Faith and about 3 miles from Red Scaffold. She worked hard on the ranch with her parents and siblings. She has many fond memories of riding horseback to check fence lines or working cattle throughout the year. The family later bought the Titus place north of them about 10 miles to expand their operation. Nancee says the responsibility she and her siblings learned on the ranch and the work ethic have served them well over the years. Nancee's love of fairs began with the annual Faith Stock Show and Rodeo. She can remember getting to stay in town 2 or 3 days to take in everything they could to last them until the next year's stock show. Her Uncle Gene, a bronc rider, would participate in the rodeo and then take her on the scary rides because no one else in the family liked those rides. When she graduated from high school in 1967, Nancee moved to Rapid City to study at National College of Business. That August, she attended range days at the fairgrounds, and she was hooked. Horse races, car races, and rodeos, bigger and more exciting than she had ever experienced, and it didn't matter that it rained most of the time that year. Nancee married the love of her life, Buster Maynard, and the two began a lifetime of being part of the happenings at the Central States Fair and Black Hills Stock Show. She recalls Vern Shepard at the dances in the Alfalfa Palace on the fairgrounds, encouraging people to come to the fair and be part of it. Nancee's first fair as a volunteer was 1974. She worked at a gate checking people in with son Brett, age 5, running around her, and her son Bart, not quite 5 months old, in a stroller, and she hasn't stopped since. Janet Zietlow was the first to rope Nancee into helping with events and open-class exhibits during the fair. Janet said, "We can always use help," and Nancee was willing to do anything. Dolores Canupi saw she had a way with people, so she put Nancee to work at an information table in the Fine Arts Building during the fair. Nancee admits she is a sponge and just listened and learned her way into multiple activities and committees. Those two ladies kept Nancee busy with many events at the Central States Fair and Black Hills Stock Show, including tours for the school children and a Taste of Country sampling event featuring South Dakota products. She said Hugh Ingalls once asked her if she wanted to help with the cattle events, and she was pretty quick to say, "No thanks." But to the benefit of Central States Fair and Black Hills Stock Show, Nancee didn't say no very often. Someone encouraged her to run for the Central States Fair Board of Directors. She ran against Ron Jeffries the first time and got beat, but she was never so happy to lose, as she said the right man was elected. The following year, Dolores Canupi called and asked if she would be interested in completing the term of a board member who needed to resign. Nancee was selected and over the moon excited about her new adventure. Nancee served on the board of directors 4 different times, with her last term ending in 2014. She says the people she served with on the board were phenomenal. Their forward-thinking vision to grow the Central States Fair and Black Hills Stock Show inspired her. People like Elliott Kammerer, Dolores Canupi, Janet Zietlow, Colin Marsh, Hugh Ingalls, Brad Estes, Denny Selting, Gary Brown, and so many others. They set a solid foundation for the events to thrive. She credits Ron Jeffries with getting her even more involved once she was a board member. Nancee says Ron has 75 ideas at one time, and someone needs to make them happen. One of those involved starting the world's smallest rodeo, an idea Ron brought back from a meeting he attended. He knew Nancee was the one to make it happen. He bought the stick horses and turned Nancee loose. Nancee says you do some of the stuff because it's fun, but it's even more fun when you get the kids involved and you watch them grow up through the fair and stock show activities. Her greatest love is the Range Days Rodeo Committee, which she became involved with because Elliott Kammerer needed help writing letters for sponsors, and the rest is history. She used to bring Buster with her to committee meetings, and they put him to work at the rodeos. Buster was no stranger to working at rodeos, so later they asked him to join the committee. While she was busy working full-time, driving a bus, running a greenhouse during the summer, and balancing the needs of her family, Nancee says she always made time for Central States Fair and Black Hill Stock Show because, to quote her, this was good stuff. Whether working as superintendent of horticulture or subbing in as an interim superintendent for culinary or creative hobbies, Nancee does it with grace, a smile, and willing friends and family. Many begin a phone call with, "What do you need, Nancee?" It's the people with new ideas and fresh events that make it wonderful, says Nancee Maynard. My greatest accomplishment is being given the chance to be a part of it and living up to people's expectations. Nancee Maynard met and exceeded all expectations. She has set a new standard for volunteers with the Central States Fair and the Black Hills Stock Show. For that reason, we honor her this evening as our Silver Spur Hall of Fame recipient.